Welcome to my weekly update. I hope everyone watching has had a great week. This week, I want to start off by talking about how I honestly agree with the FDA's intention in wanting to reclassify natural desiccated thyroid supplements, or NDT. Because to be totally fair, the FDA isn't exactly wrong here. The supplement and compounded drug industry has needed oversight for entirely too long. Contamination, inconsistent dosing, these are all a part of this industry, as is releasing products that shouldn't really necessarily be readily available for patients. So the agency's goal of safety and consistency is 100% valid. However, the way they are going about this is 100% not. Originally, manufacturers had until 2029 to comply with the new biologics reclassification. And that number, it made sense, especially for smaller organizations. It gave them ample time to put together the infrastructure, gather the data, and also secure the funding to get through this incredibly complicated, rigorous, and ungodly expensive reclassification process. However, almost overnight, the date changed from 2029 to 2025, wiping out 4 years of prep time. What this does for especially smaller manufacturers or manufacturers that might be spread a little thin is it makes it literally impossible for them to comply. So, while the FDA's goals look great on paper, the real-life consequences of this reclassification fall back on the patient, such as myself. When smaller manufacturers are unable to meet this deadline, supply chain shortages, price hikes, and also just fewer options in general for people who depend on NDT become a major problem. Safety is incredibly important, but so is access when it comes to medicines such as NDT. And let's be clear, it's not about choosing between safety and accessibility. It's about creating a system that does both. With all of that being said, if you or someone that you know has been impacted by this decision, please visit savendt.org. I dropped a link down in the bio where you can learn how to become involved to help protect patient choice. Next is a bit more of my entire health odyssey. So I found a new conventional medicine doctor. It's going to be my new primary. I see them on the 10th. I went to my old primary and I had an appointment. I talked about it my last update, and I went there for a few different reasons. I went for some GI issues related to parasites, asking for like a round of ivermectin and maybe some recommendations for probiotics. And I also asked for pain management drugs, specifically non-narcotic, non-steroidal drugs. And they couldn't help me with either of those things. Really, all I walked out of there with was a referral to an ear, nose, and throat doctor for my sinusitis and refills of all of the regular medicines they usually prescribe me. So it's frustrating because in the conventional system, which is the primary system most people have access to, there is simply not enough knowledge to take care of, let's say, chronically ill patients like myself, or patients that have been affected by environmental factors, whether it's toxins or vector-borne diseases or whatever. It's really, really difficult to find help. So I'm going to be documenting kind of, my progress from here on out with that whole field, and hopefully, this new doctor will be able to help me even a little bit. Would be nice. Now, last but not least is post-exertion malaise from chronic fatigue syndrome, and boy, do I have that right now. I started exercising again last week, and I felt so amazing, like while I was exercising, that I overdid it for a couple days. So the past few days I've just been bleh, laid out and just trying to rest to get back to where I was before I started. But I'll be adding exercise back in, and hopefully this time I can learn to pace myself a bit better. But I think that's all for this week. That's all I have. I'll see you next. Thank you very much. Bye.